Hi, guys. Welcome back to the Pageant Project. My special guest for tonight is Miss New Jersey teen volunteer. I'm just going to read out her bio over here. Ariana Leigh Scott is a dedicated high school student and the proud founder of Hand to Hand Heroes, an initiative focused on uplifting those in need through compassion and connection. Passionate about service, Ariana devotes her time to creating meaningful change in her community, inspiring others to lead with kindness, purpose, and heart. Well, Ariana, welcome to the show. Good to see you.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
What was your festive season like? I don't know when people are watching this, but it's only middle of January now. So how was your festive season?
Mine was absolutely fantastic. I spent a lot of time with my family and friends. My family loves to bake cookies, so we had a lot of cookie baking, which was super fun, especially because I have younger siblings and little cousins. So being able to bring them in on the family traditions this holiday season was very exciting.
Do we have a very large extended family?
Yes, I have 2 sets of parents. So I
Wow. Okay.
have my mom's side of the family, my stepdad's side of the family, and then my dad's side of the family, and my stepmom's side of the family. And on my stepdad's side of the family, my aunt just had 2 baby twins. So bringing them into the family traditions, and then I also have a new baby brother on my dad's side. So very, very exciting to be able to see them experience their first holiday season.
How many cousins, nephews? I'm really bad with knowing
Yeah.
what's what, but how many are we talking about? You must struggle to remember all their names.
Honestly, we don't have that many. We have a very big family, but the kid side of it is
Right.
very
Okay.
small still. I have myself, and then I have 2 younger siblings on my mom's side, and then, like I said, a baby brother on my dad's side. And then I think I have under 10 cousins, like 6 maybe
Okay.
cousins. So,
All right.
yes.
I mean, I have like one or two, so even like
Yeah.
10 to me sounds like a lot. We mentioned cookies. You mentioned cookies. That is always challenging around pageant prep time. Did you
Mhm.
have to be careful, or did you just indulge and you'd be like, "That's okay, we'll get back to business in January"?
Kind of a mix of both, we have to enjoy the holiday season even a little bit, especially with that family tradition, but we're definitely back with my sponsor training aspects right now, which has been really exciting. So,
Right. So how have the New Year resolutions been going? I mean, do you have any New Year's resolutions? Or all the research points to by this time most people have either broken them or given up. How are you going with yours?
I made a lot for myself, not only pageant related, but also personal related. I definitely
Mhm.
am trying to kind of expand on doing more things for myself. I want to this year learn how to play the guitar. So after
Oh,
nationals, I'm going to get into that side of things, get more into reading. So being able to do those little things and set those little resolutions and goals for the year was really exciting. And I'm excited to see where that goes.
now, you mentioned nationals. I haven't interviewed that many of the teen volunteer contestants. I think you're only the second. Remind me, when is nationals? Because it's coming up sooner than the Miss, isn't it?
Yes. Yes, it's the first weekend in March.
Wow. Okay, so we're
Yes.
about six. I don't need to remind you. I'm just saying this out loud. It's about 6 weeks out now.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So how are the nerves? Nerves of steel? Feeling excited?
Honestly,
What are we doing?
we're a mix of everything. I am so, so excited. I was able to have a lot of the teens on my Instagram live series. So being able to already connect with a lot of them was, I think, a lot less nerve-wracking because I know going
Mm,
into that weekend, I already have a lot of friends that I've made, and I'm just excited to see where those friendship goes. And also, we just went to Dressing Dreams in Georgia to get my wardrobe, so I think that has also kind of helped settle the nerves just a little bit. It's another thing to, check off and get ready for nationals with.
so is all the I know you can't disclose this because we keep our dress choices, like national secrets, but is all the wardrobe picked?
Yes,
That sounds exciting. What was it like
it's
when you
very
found your
exciting.
dream dress?
Funny story, I tried on 15 gowns before I
Mm.
picked my dream gown. And before the dress I tried on before, I had like a vision in my head, like that was the dress that I thought was going to be the dress. However, it was not. And I remember I was in the dressing room and I was getting a little overwhelmed and a little stressed out because, my vision was not coming to life. But the next dress that I put on, I remember standing in the dressing room once the dress was on, and I just started to cry of relief and
Right.
happiness, and
Yeah.
it was just so exciting because after trying on so many dresses, I put a dress on and I felt 1000% myself, and I cannot wait to be able to bring that on the national stage.
There is a lot of crying in pageants.
Yeah.
Normally happy tears. How long does it take? Give the people watching an idea. You said you tried around 15 dresses. Does that take about half an hour, an hour?
We started at 11 o'clock. We got into
Hmm.
the shop at 11. It was a busy day because it was a Saturday, so that kind of also played a
Yep.
factor
Okay.
into it. But I think we wound up leaving there around 3:30. And maybe even a little bit later than that, but I did get my full wardrobe. So I tried on a lot of dresses, a lot of different outfits, and it was very exciting. It did take a little bit, but I'm a pageant girl. I love trying on dresses. It's like I walked in there and I was like, this is the dream. This is what I've seen
I can
all over
imagine.
social media. This is just like absolutely amazing. And they have fabulous dresses there. So I'm so grateful to have them as a sponsor for New Jersey.
You're like a kid in a candy store, aren't you? You pageant
Literally.
girls, when you go into one of
Yes.
those. Um, give us a hint. Your dress. Just give us a hint, a
It's
cryptic
different
hint.
than anything else I've ever worn. I remember
Okay.
I was able to bring down my mom, my aunt, and my grandmom down with me to the dress store, as well as, of course, my Miss New Jersey volunteer family. And they were all very surprised. They absolutely loved it, but they were all very surprised. And then I called some of my family back at home and I FaceTimed my other grandmom that was at home and she was like, "Wow, you look amazing." But I could have never imagined that that would be the style, the color, anything that you would have went for. And so yeah, it's a lot different than what I'm used to, but I'm obsessed with it and I cannot wait.
Sounds good. We
Yeah.
always like different more so than
Mhm.
cliche. Can you catch us up on what pageant prep looks like at this stage? I mean, you're only 6 weeks out, and then we
Yes.
had festive period and New Year. I imagine things are pretty hectic, pretty busy.
Yeah, so after I won in November, I started to figure out, how I was going to accomplish all of the goals that I had as Miss New Jersey Teen Volunteer. And then holiday season came around, so we had a little bit of a pause. Of course, we had our appearances and things like that, but prep took a little bit of a pause. But now I'm in with our sponsorship for fitness, which is Training Aspects. I actually went there yesterday. I go there around 2 times a week. It's just a great environment. It always just keeps me not only physically fit, but also just mentally
Yeah.
excited and mentally happy and mentally prepared for the national competition. I also have amazing sponsorships with a pageant coach named Chris. He's been able to help me a lot with paperwork, as our paperwork is due this week, as well as Unlock Your Story, which is another type of interview coach. However, she's really been able to help me find my voice, and I'm excited to continue working with her because I know that it will not only benefit me at nationals, but just all year long, being able to really, make those connections with people and share my story. And I'm really excited to see where all that goes.
Have you been down to Tennessee before?
No, I haven't. This is my first
First
time. We're
time?
actually driving there from New Jersey. So it is a little bit of a drive. However, we're going to take some pit stops to see the sights and just experience it a little bit more. So I'm excited to see how that goes.
Dare I ask how long the drive is in total?
I'm
Bear in
not
mind, I'm from
1000%
Australia.
sure. Yes, I'm not 1000% sure, but I think it's like 14 hours, maybe a little bit more than that, maybe a little less than that, but around there.
You said 1 4, right? 14,
Yes.
not 40. Okay. 40,
Yes.
because if it's 40, it takes me less time to fly over there. I was, I always wondered why you pageant girls seem to drive everywhere, because I thought, oh, you have, planes and airports, it'd be so much faster. But I have to say, having had some mishaps going through TSA and getting on planes and plane cancellations and all that, I understand now why you drive everywhere. So you've never been down to Tennessee. What are you most looking forward to? I mean, it's only 6 weeks away. You mentioned you've made a bunch of connections already. So what's going to be
Yeah.
the highlight, you think?
I think definitely I've heard so many stories from the past title holders from New Jersey and just hearing their little moments that they had with the other title holders, whether it be their backstage. And I remember my one friend, Jackie, she was the title holder last year. She was telling me about how there was a bug in the dressing room. And it was just a really funny story about how her and another title holder just were able to connect from that. And they built a really great friendship from that little tiny story. That was so random, but it's just those little memories that I know that I'll definitely cherish forever, and I cannot wait to get down there and be able to meet not only the title holders, but also the amazing staff and board that they have down there, and just be able to connect with everyone and make those lifelong friendships.
The only one piece of advice I'd give you, as having been there last year, make sure you take something warm, because I will
Okay.
tell you, the Carl Perkins is absolutely biblically freezing. I got over there and I caught a cold, and I never catch a cold. And there are a bunch of girls. I spoke to someone this year who's taking a blanket. She has, you know, how you guys have your sort of unique merch with your title on the back.
Yes.
She's taking a blanket and a jacket. So I'm telling you now, whatever you've got, make sure you have something that you can put over the top, because it's very, very cold. I don't know what the weather in Tennessee will be like in February or March, but the inside's going to be super, super cold. Um, can I just ask, Ariana, behind you, you have this
Yes.
little setup. Is that a vinyl record player you have on your?
Yes, I do
Okay,
have
you
a
need to
vinyl
tell me
record
that,
player. Yes, of
because that's
course.
got to be
So
older than you.
So I actually got into vinyl records my freshman year in high school. I'm a junior now. One of my best friends, he collected vinyl records and he first got me into it. He had like a collection of like 100 when I first met him, and I don't even
Wow.
know how many he has now. But I started my collection. I have a lot of my favorite artists like Megan Maroney and Taylor Swift, and I I love collecting vinyl records because I feel like it just brings music to like more of a personal level. It's not like I'm
Hmm.
listening it to on my phone. I can sit in the comfort of my bedroom and kind of unwind from the day and just put a record on, and whether it be doing my schoolwork, doing some pageant stuff, it's always a great way to end the day, to start the day. It's just a great thing to have.
The vinyl players nowadays, do they still make that sound when you put the pin on? I mean, the old school ones did. I don't know if the new ones do, but do they still make that? And then you put the pin down and you hear
Yes,
that.
I'm not sure if it's the same exact noise, but they make a similar noise, yeah.
Right. Okay. How big is your vinyl collection at the moment?
I think I have about 50, maybe a little less,
Wow.
but about 50, yeah.
Right. Okay. It's not the easiest thing to take in your car, though. If you want to
No.
take your music on the road, you don't really have a vinyl record player in your car. That's very cool. So you got into vinyls because a friend of yours had them. So what is it about the vinyls that you prefer? I mean, you mentioned Taylor Swift. So obviously, you could listen to it on Spotify or whatever.
Yes.
You prefer the vinyls?
Yes, so I'm also, aside from that, I'm a huge live music fan. I've been to about 20
Right.
concerts in the past few years, and I feel like going to a concert is kind of similar to putting a vinyl on, because when you're there, you get to really experience it. It's not like you're distracted from the things around you.
Mm,
And I feel like when I'm listening to something on my phone, I tend to either be scrolling while listening to something on my
yeah.
phone or just being distracted by doing something else. So being able to put a vinyl on, it helps me to either focus on the music or focus on the thing that I'm doing, whether, like I said, if I'm doing homework, I think that just definitely helps a lot
All
more
right. Okay.
than using my phone. So,
20, you've been to about 20 concerts. Can I ask you, because I think live music is completely different to listening to something on Spotify or YouTube. And I'm always curious as to know which artists live are better and which artists live are maybe not so great. So, I mean, you've been to that many concerts. Who, in your opinion, is an artist who just sounded live? I mean, they might sound great on the recording, but in person, live, just absolutely blew you away.
I have been to a good amount of concerts. I've been to a lot of country concerts, a lot of
Yeah.
pop concerts, a good various different types of genres. But I think definitely one concert that I will always remember, it was a smaller artist. She still is kind of small. Her name's Lauren Spencer Smith. I'm not sure if you're familiar with her. However, it was one of my first concerts going with some of my best friends, and I was front row. And I think that concert was just so memorable, and she was absolutely fantastic. She just her voice, and I feel like sometimes when a singer is singing, they change their voice from how they
Yeah.
actually are, they put up some kind of front, and she did the total opposite. She was just so herself, and you could really tell that, through her words, through her lyrics, through the entire performance, and that was definitely one of the top concerts I've ever been to.
Nice. Tell the audience how you got into pageants.
Yeah, so my Aunt Madison actually was a pageant title holder, and I remember going to my very first pageant that I was in the audience watching her, and I was actually,
Oh,
in the very exact venue that I won Miss New Jersey Teen Volunteer. I was sitting in the audience watching her compete, and just being able to see her and all of the other incredible, talented women on stage that just truly inspired me. I saw her tap on stage and I was like, I want to do that. That's exactly what I want to do someday. And everyone around me was like, you want to do that? Because at the time I was so shy, and then I feel like once I started pageantry and once I got more involved, once I got older, I really was able to become who I was meant to be. I've been able to grow so much as an individual through the interview process, through just the confidence that you can have to go onto a stage, and
mm,
also the power and the ability to go back each year. It takes a lot of it just takes a lot to be able to say, okay, I didn't go to this pageant. It didn't end up the way that I hoped for it to end up.
yeah.
However, I love this organization and I want to be a part of this organization because they're making such an incredible difference to be able to go again the next year. And that's what I happened to me when I was first competed for Miss New Jersey Teen Volunteer. The very first year I went, I had the most fantastic time ever. And as soon as I got off stage after placing first runner up, I automatically went to the state director once he had a minute to speak. And I was like, okay, sign me up. I'm coming back next year. And that's exactly what I did. And I just think that through pageantry, I've grown so much and been able to really become who I want to become and who I've meant to become.
What do you think the biggest lesson or lessons you've learned from your time in pageantry are?
Definitely the empowerment side that comes with it. Growing up, before I got involved with Miss Volunteer America, I did a lot of pageants with my younger sister. Right now, my sister's 9. So at the time when we were competing
Wow.
together, she was around 6. So being able to go and compete in pageants with her taught me a lot. It taught me how to be a big sister, and it taught me how
Mm,
to really pick her up if she had a bad time on stage, or just being able to show her that no matter what, no matter the outcome, no matter what happens, you're always true to yourself. And as long as you feel 1000% yourself on stage and you put your 110% self onto the stage, you did everything that you could possibly do. And just because it wasn't your day doesn't mean tomorrow won't be. So
yeah.
being able to compete with her definitely taught me a lot about being a role model and being a big sister. And I think without that experience, I wouldn't have the same values in pageantry that I do now.
Can you tell people a bit more about New Jersey, Miss New Jersey Teen Volunteer? Because I think you mentioned that at least your second time, I'll get you to tell the people more. But I'm curious because I know what the Miss Volunteer America National pageant is like because I attended it last year. But when it comes to your guys' state pageants, I know everyone runs it in a slightly different way. So, what was your New Jersey pageant like?
So both years that I competed were set up the exact same way. So we have a Saturday, Sunday style pageant. So Saturday in the morning, we'll have our interviews. And then that afternoon, they'll have the princess pageant where we crown our princess. And then at night, we have our rehearsals. Sometimes they are very long, sometimes they're short, depending on what we have to do. And we also have thrown in throughout that day some more talent rehearsals and things like that. And then Sunday is full pageant swing. We get there very early in the morning, and then we have more rehearsals all day. We have lunch, and then we have around 5 hours to actually get ready for the pageant. We're set up upstairs in the music pier, and it's has huge mirrors, big lights. It's like the perfect setup, and it's my favorite time of the entire weekend because that's when you really get to bond with the other title
Yeah.
holders. And then we have our full pageant. We do, as Miss Volunteer America does, we do our talent, we do our fitness, our gown, and then we call the top five or the top three, depending on how many girls we have, and then they're able to do the onstage question. This year we did a little bit different than my first year. We actually had headphones for the onstage question.
Oh,
There were girls backstage
okay.
using headphones.
Yeah.
I did not get to the opportunity to use the headphones because I was called first in the
Easy.
top. However, I went back there after I answered my question and they were all jamming out to Taylor Swift and they looked like they were having a great time. And then following that, we'll have a little reception in the back after the pageant to congratulate our new title holders, to take lots of pictures, to have some cupcakes, and it's just always a great
Cupcakes.
time.
What was your winning reaction like? Are you one of those people who freaks out? Are you someone who's very calm? Are you somewhere in the middle?
I think I was somewhere in the middle. I was going into that weekend, I had never felt more calm going into a pageant before. I was very much in the mindset that what is meant to happen will happen, and everything that I possibly could do for myself, I did. So going
Mhm.
into that weekend, I was very calm and sure of myself. However, I also knew that different judges, different day. It happens all the time. You may never know. And being able to go into finals night knowing I made incredible bonds with every single one of those title holders, and they were all such incredible people, and they were all best friends of mine. I still talk to them to this day, and being able to continue those friendships. A lot of them are coming back as local title holders, and I'm so excited
Nice.
to be able to continue experiencing this with them. So once I won, I obviously was very emotional. It was my second year competing, so being able to have the opportunity to represent the state I love and the organization that I love so much was absolutely incredible. I remember after I was announced, then they did the Miss contestants, obviously, and I was just standing there and I just like was I saw my family in the audience. I was sobbing. It was just very surreal moment for me, and it was just absolutely incredible.
I was going to ask, how long did it take to sink in that because you won your state title, now it's almost like the only the beginning of the journey, so to speak. But it sounds like it almost hit you on stage right away
It
that you were going to
did.
get to compete at nationals. How,
Yes,
how,
it
how
did.
did how did that feel when you realized, okay, you compete for the state title, it's your second time competing and you won it, and then now it's only the beginning of a bigger journey. How did that feel?
Like I said, it was just surreal. It was all of the hard work that I put in was finally having the outcome that I was hoping for and the
Mm,
outcomes that I was dreaming for. So being able to now go to nationals representing New Jersey, that is a win in itself. Being able to
yeah.
go to that national onto that national stage wearing the wardrobe of my dreams, being able to be 110% myself, that is the ultimate goal. And no matter what happens at nationals, I'm just so excited to be able to meet everyone and just have that experience because it's a once in a lifetime experience and
Mm.
I'm just so excited to make the most of it.
Do you think you'll be as calm as you were for your state pageant?
I'm not sure, honestly. I think it'll definitely hit me once I get there. The
Yeah.
nerves. Nerves are always good. Before I go into interview, I usually have a little bit of nerves just because it's the first phase of competition. So
Yeah.
I'm more nervous. I was actually talking to my mom about this the other day. I'm more nervous that once I get onto the stage and like I'm in my gown or whenever I'm doing my first phase of competition, I might cry on stage just because it's so surreal and it's just such like a proud moment. And I'm a very emotional person, if you can't tell. So being able to just experience that, I know as soon as I go on stage, as soon as I see the stage, I might be a little bit of a mess. I might need to regroup a little bit,
Okay.
but
All right. Do you, I mean, you mentioned a couple of your sponsors. Do we have a Kleenex sponsor or a tissue sponsor at this point? Because you sound like you
we
need
might
it.
as well. We might as well.
I think you guys are all experts in how to put on your makeup in such a way it doesn't
Yes.
run. When it comes to interviews, so I want you to tell me more about the Instagram live series that you've been doing. You mentioned before we went live that before we started the recording, that you're onto your third season already, which is absolutely amazing. Tell us more about what it is, what made you start it, and what it's been like getting to speak to so many amazing women from around your country. I know that you recently just had Lauren on, Miss Volunteer
Yes.
America. I saw that you had Nicole Taylor on, Miss Illinois Volunteer, and I've interviewed her as well. But if I take you back to the beginning, what made you start your Instagram live series? Tell us more about it.
So my Instagram live series is called Hero Talk. It originated from my social media and my serve initiative called Hand Tanned Heroes. So I originally wanted to start this because I realized that a lot of teens don't really know the importance and the values of community service.
Mm.
And I thought the best way to do this is to bring it onto what they use every day, and that's social media. So being able to bring my passion of community service onto social media, I thought automatically I want to share other people's stories because I'm constantly sharing my story with volunteering and how I got involved. However, there's so many people out there that have so many unique stories
Mm.
that must be shared. So I started my very first live, and the very first one was definitely a work in progress. My first one, I remember we were on for an hour. It was one of my best pageant friends, and we talked about absolutely everything you could have ever imagined. We were talking about what's your favorite color, what do you like to do for fun, all those little random things just to kind of see where it would go. And since then, it's definitely been a lot more organized. Since then, we talk a lot more
Yep.
about volunteering, a lot more about what being a hero means to other people, about their experiences. And I've been able to have so many incredible title holders on, as well as other people in the community. I've been able to have small social media influencers come on, some small businesses come on, and I think it's just a great opportunity right now for me to continue this because I'm making those connections before I go to nationals in March and I'm able to get to know more of the title holders, but also just continuing to share the importance of being a hero, being a impactful person in your community is the overall goal. And right now I'm on season 3. Like you said, I've been able to have over 50 lives and it's definitely been exciting. Very it's grown a lot into what I really hoped it to be, and I'm excited to see more of the special guests that we have on, as my goal before I give up my title next November is to reach all 50 states. I do believe that I'll
Wow.
be able
Okay.
to do that before I actually maybe even before summer, because right now I'm at 30 states, so it's very, very exciting, and I cannot wait to see who the special guests are to come on soon.
Okay, so you mentioned your first one, you had your pageant bestie on, you were on for an hour and you
Yes.
talked about everything. You said you're a bit more organized now. So give people a bit of an insight. What's the process of reaching out to someone to get them to agree to come on an Instagram live and then to organize a date and time? And then once you've got that set and you're about to go live with them, do you have a list of questions? Do you have a list of notes? Do you do your research? Run us through that process because I'm sure a lot of your fellow contestants, even in the older ones, the Miss and the Miss, would like to know what's involved in starting an Instagram live series.
My first step is to get a list. Right now, I have a long list of all of the states that I have not yet reached. So that is my first goal, being able to find either a title holder or just someone that I think would be a great special guest to come on
Yeah.
from each state. And then from there, I go and I message them. Usually it's through Instagram just because that's where the live is. So it's the easiest way to do that. I message them, I tell them more about like what's it about, what it will entail, and then from there I send them a Google form, and on this Google form it has all of the upcoming dates. I figured that that was the easiest way because in the past I've just been texting back and forth with like 10
No,
different
don't do
people
that.
at once and it just
Yeah.
never works out great. So being able to do the Google form definitely has helped. And then from there I do have a set of questions that I ask almost every special guest. However, I always like to make it more specific to them. So I'm adding specific
Mm.
questions, maybe about their serve initiative or about specific events that they've already posted about. So being able to do that has really been able to help, just like I said, organize my thoughts, organize how the live is going to plan out, and also make sure that it's not too long because sometimes I feel like especially in the beginning, like I said, I was on for like at least an hour with my pageant bestie just talking about absolutely everything. So being able to make sure that we're not rambling too much, but we're getting all of the necessary information because a lot of especially because I'm trying to reach teens. So a lot of teens
Yeah.
aren't going to sit there and watch me talk for 45 an hour. Like they're not going to sit there and let me like watch me talk for that long. So being able to have it a good amount of time so people can
Yeah.
watch and really learn more about volunteering has definitely helped.
Yeah, I think the average attention span now is like 6 seconds. So no,
Literally.
they're probably not going to be watching for an hour unless you keep it super
No.
entertaining. I mean, you've done so many of these lives now. Do you have like a favorite question or questions to ask?
My very my favorite question, it's this last question that I actually ask on every single live is very specific to my serve initiative, which is called Hand to Hand Heroes. And I ask this question because I feel like everyone has a different opinion on it. It is, how do you define the word hero? I
Mm,
personally think that the word hero can be in many different ways. I see a hero as a official in the community doing their job, whether it be like a nurse or a doctor, those types of people making a difference through their workforce. Or it can also be a hero like a person like me who's going out in their community and making a difference and sharing that passion. However, I actually recently, like you said, I was on a live with our Miss Volunteer America, Lauren, and I asked her this question, and it was so inspirational because she talks more about how you really have to be your own hero first before you can even
yeah.
attempt to be someone else's hero. And I thought that was a great way to put it, and it was a great way to really inspire others. And I definitely see the word hero so differently when everyone is speaking about it because they all have their own stories that align to how they define that word.
Do you ever get nervous before you jump on one of these lives? I mean, maybe not now, but if I take you back to the first one, because you are going live, you're not recording it. And so, as I'm sure you're aware, when you go live, all sorts of things can go wrong, right? People can drop off, your internet drops off, Instagram doesn't want to cooperate, and you can't see the person to add them to the live. Do you ever get nervous at this point before you're about to jump on a live?
It always depends. It depends on how my day went sometimes, but I think I've honestly experienced it, maybe not all of it, but I've experienced most of it. I've had the experiences where I'll get on a live and the audio will cut out randomly, or I'll get on the live and the internet will stop working, or someone can't join. Actually, one time I was getting ready for a live with another teen title holder, and this was over the summer before I had won Miss New Jersey Teen Volunteer, and I realized that Instagram made a new policy that you can't go live unless you have 1,000 followers, and I was just under 1,000 followers. So that definitely took a little bit of a step back from Hero Talk, and I had to kind of redirect how I was going to still be able to do something similar to Hero Talk, and that's where the videos came out. However, that was a big thing because I had to now really promote and do a
Yeah.
lot to get those 1,000 followers so that I could go back live and I didn't have to just do a video version. And that was very important to me. And I had a lot of help from a lot of my family and friends and local title holders that I knew, and they all helped me achieve that goal so that I could continue Hero Talk. And that was extremely special. So it just depends. Sometimes I'll get a little nervous. I know when I went on with Lauren, Miss Volunteer America, I did get a little nervous, but it was definitely excitement because I was just so excited to be able to talk to her and learn more from her. I was also able to have Miss Teen Volunteer America, Izzy, on before I went to the New Jersey pageant, and she was the absolute sweetest. I was definitely fangirling a little bit because I was just so excited to talk to them both. But yeah, it just honestly depends on the day.
You mentioned that Instagram brought in that new policy. And let me just ask you this, because over here in Australia, our government just introduced a policy where basically if you're under the age of 16, you can't have your own social media account anymore. And of course, it's about mental health, preventing teenagers from being bullied, and also teenagers are too hooked on their social media, et cetera, et cetera. And that's fair enough. And I just thought, because I was working with a teen title holder over here, and she said, what they don't realize is that a lot of you guys being teen title holders, social media is 80, 90% of how you get the word out, right? About doing what you're doing. I mean, you have your live
Yes.
series, but you're doing your appearances. If you don't have a social media account, like it's not like you have a newspaper that you is going to post everything that you're doing. So where would you sit? I mean, pretend like we're in an interview. Where would you sit if your government was to, blanket introduce, if you're under the age of 16, sorry, you can't have your social media accounts. Where would you sit on that? Because it'd be a big issue for yourself.
I honestly definitely see where that would be coming from because there are a lot of mental health issues that come from social media. However, I also think there's a lot of positive that comes from social
Mm,
media too. I believe that being able to use your platform to promote something positive, like something like my live series, or being able, or another title posting about their serve initiative. Like you said, it's a way to get the word out. It's also a way to get involved with other people and connect with other
mm,
people. Without social media, I wouldn't have been able to have my hero talks or even connect with the other local title holders. So being able to really use social media positively, I think is the only way that we can not have it cause negative mental health issues. So being able to use it positively is my overall goal. And I think if I were to be talking to someone like officials about this, it would definitely just keep promoting those positive ways that social media has been able to influence so many people's lives because social media has been able to change people's lives for the better. It's been able to bring so
yeah.
many opportunities for influencers out there, for title holders, and I think
Mm.
without social media, the world would be very different and it wouldn't be as connected, I feel like.
Yeah, I agree with you. I also think it's about learning how to use social media like any other tool. You need to learn how to use it better and
Yes,
safely. And I don't think that happens if you don't get to use it. So,
absolutely.
anyway, I have my thoughts on that. In terms of school, you've got class, you're in high school. What are you studying? What are you hoping to do if you've even given it any thought, like 3 years, 5 years from now, when you graduate? Are we going to college? Do we have a particular occupation in mind? Walk us through that.
So I'm a junior in high school. At my high school, I go to a trade school, so I'm able to study biological sciences. At my high school, I take the normal classes that any other high school would take, plus a lot of college classes as well. My school is partnered with Rowan, so we're able to take a lot of classes that are with them, whether it be a research class that I'm currently doing, which I'm very excited for because I get to conduct my own study. I got to
Oh, wow.
get a budget from our school and go from there and really just take it on a whole new creative side. So that is very exciting and that is coming up for me very shortly. So being able to do things like that has definitely opened my eyes and been able to help me experience things and say, okay, in the future, I don't particularly want to work in a lab. However, I love science. So being able to more focus on how I can use that in the future. I have always been all over the place with what I exactly want to do in the future,
Yeah.
honestly. At one point, I wanted to be a teacher. The next day, I'm like, okay, I'm going to be a fashion designer. It's all over the place. However, recently, I have really focused on and hope to become a pediatric doctor. In school right
Wow.
now, we're
Okay.
learning more about cancer. So being able to take all of the things that I've learned now into my field is going to be extremely beneficial. In third grade, I actually decided that I would wanted to go to Clemson University, which is in South Carolina. So, with the hopes of continuing all of the schoolwork that I'm doing now and continuing to further my education through our partnership with Rowan and getting all those college credits, I am very excited to see where that goes. And I hope to be a Clemson Tiger one day.
It sounds like if I ask you the same question maybe a week from now, the answer might be slightly different, but that's okay. At your age, it's
No,
about,
yeah.
whatever you feel like you should. And I think these days, people can be a lot of things. It's not like 20, 30 years ago where you had one occupation, you did it for 40 years. But just back up for a sec, can you explain, if I understood correctly? So you mentioned trade school and you mentioned it has a partnership with Rowan. We don't have such things as trade schools in high schools here in Australia. We do have an equivalent sort of in college, which we call TAFE. But can you just back up? Because it sounds like your schooling experience sounds very hands on and practical, where that's very different from a lot of other teen title holders I've spoken to who they're not learning anything in school that they'll ever use. All they're ever studying is how to pass a standardized test. Your schooling experience sounds a bit different. Can you tell me a bit more about it?
Yes, of course. So at my school, we have lots of different programs and trades. So we have things like cosmetology, we have
Wow.
engineering, we have plumbing, we have a bunch of different types. We have three different science programs. We have allied health, health sciences, and biological sciences. They're all a little bit different. My program is biological sciences, and I do a lot more lab-based things. So I'm constantly right now I'm taking college level bio 2. So being able to take that right now and be only a junior in high school has not only gained me a
Yeah.
lot of credits,
Yeah.
but it's also gained me a lot of experience in the lab side of things, where we do a lab almost every single day, and being able to really just learn how that is as a high school student, because I feel like a lot of people don't technically understand how much goes into each
Yeah.
individual lab. And I would love to be able to continue working in science in the future. So being able to gain those experiences now. And like I said, I also have a research class. So this class, I get to conduct my own experiment with my own partner and really just have a
Wow.
full, like, I have full reign on absolutely anything I could imagine. I'm actually doing a study on butterflies and how climate change and habitats can affect them. So, being able to do all of that in one classroom
Wow.
at my high school is going to be absolutely insane. I'm so excited to see the outcome of that. And like you said, I've been able to gain so many incredible experiences now as a junior, and I still have one more
Hmm.
year left as a full student.
Why aren't more schools like this?
That's a great question.
I think every school should be like this, rather than get you studying bored out of your
Yes.
brains to pass a standardized test. So you said your experiment, your research is going to be into butterflies and climate change.
Yes.
I remember someone who was competing in the Miss Earth USA system. They were talking about monarch butterflies, and I don't know much about it. But aren't butterflies one of the things, along with bees? I think I don't know. This is along the lines of what you're talking about. But butterflies and bees, I think they're almost the most vulnerable things to climate change. And if something
Yep.
bad, I think it was bees, something bad happens to bees, then basically all life on Earth would cease to exist. Is that sort of
Yes.
the lines along which you're going?
Yes. So, like you said, everything is connected. So, being able
Yeah.
to take this small study, we are doing it from when they're little tiny eggs to when they're full butterflies. And we're going to, in the beginning stages, we're going to use them at 3 different temperatures, so 3 different groups. And then from there, once they grow into butterflies, they're going to be at their normal room temperature. So, we're going to see how the when they're eggs, how that can affect them in the future, and then in the future reproduction process as well.
So, final question about trade schools, because this is fascinating to me. Does everyone around America have an opportunity to go to a trade school? Because that's where I would be going. Or is it something that's just unique to your situation?
So I go to GCIT, so I could have went to my town high school. However, I it's just something that you have to apply to. They don't
Right.
take absolutely every single student. However, we do have a pretty large class. In my program specifically, we only have 30 students in the entire junior class. So, and since then, those numbers have dropped incredibly. So, being able to take a very advanced program and only a select amount of
Yeah,
students are able to take that, it's definitely an accomplishment. And it's something that I believe a lot more kids should be able to have
yeah,
experiences in, because it teaches you what you would like to do, what you're not a huge fan of, and just
exactly.
gets you more experience before making future
Yeah.
decisions.
Because if you get that experience now, it avoids you having to waste time later, doesn't it? Going into a college
Yes.
program where you don't like it and then having to switch majors and things like that. You mentioned biology. Have you dissected anything? That's what I remember
We
about
did
my
my
biology
freshman
classes.
year. Yes, my
Yeah.
freshman year, we dissected a pig heart, I believe. I
Mm-hmm.
honestly was not a huge fan of that. However, it was definitely an experience.
Do you remember much about it, or did you just pass out?
I didn't pass out, however, I it was definitely an experience. I remember I got to do it with a partner, so my partner did a lot of that lab, unfortunately. But it was definitely an experience. It did not smell the best, but it was an experience they had to give us.
Did you become a vegetarian for a while after that? Not, swear off
I
the
should
bacon?
have. I should
You,
have.
I remember we had to dissect a pig heart, well, a heart, and an eyeball as well. So my really pointed question to you is if you had to dissect something to pass a lab, would you rather dissect a heart or an eyeball?
Honestly, probably a heart, just because I don't know. My mom is involved and is in the eye doctor field, so I've heard a lot of stories, and I would definitely choose a pig heart over an eye.
Yeah, there's something about cutting open an eye and then the lens falls out and there's all this
Hmm.
gelatinous stuff on the inside. It's not, you don't need to eat after that. Let's put it that way. We've been on for a while, so I want to be just aware of your time. Just before we go to the final 10 questions, is there anyone that you'd like to say thank you to or give a shout out to?
Honestly, thank you to the entire Miss New Jersey Volunteer Board. I would not have this opportunity or a lot of the other opportunities without them all. They have created such an incredible organization in 5 short years. I'm the fifth title holder, so being able to just be a part of this incredible organization, I'm so grateful to have them in my corner and experience this with them. So thank you so much.
Perfect. All right, let's go through our final 10 questions. Number
Okay.
one, what is your favorite word?
Ooh, my favorite word is amazing. I say amazing a lot.
This is not one of the questions. Can you please explain to me what 6-7 means?
Honestly, I have no idea. I have absolutely no idea. It's all over school. Everyone does it for months now. For months, and I have absolutely no idea what it means.
But I'm not the only one then, because I have like a
No, you're
10-year-old,
not.
11-year-old nephew, and he says that. I'm like, what does that mean? And he doesn't know what it means, but everyone is saying it. It's like, if you don't know what it means, stop saying it. Anyway,
Yes.
number two, what is your least favorite word?
Ooh, least favorite word. Oh, I don't even know. I'll say, oh my gosh, my mind is blanking right now.
These are the
Um,
hard-hitting questions,
these
Ariana.
are. Um, maybe cruel. I feel like that's a really strange word. I don't know.
That's fair enough. I mean, after
Yeah,
we just talked about dissecting hearts and eyeballs, it's
yeah.
probably an appropriate choice. Number three, in life, what gets you excited? What turns you on?
Definitely listening to some of my favorite music. I am a huge Taylor Swift, Megan Maroney, Gracie Abrams fan, so being able to just connect to music with my friends and with the people around me is super special.
What about what turns you off?
Mm, People that are not open to trying new things. I'm a very adventurous person and I like to try absolutely everything. I would in the future, like I said, I want to do absolutely everything. So, and I have so many different passions. So people that don't necessarily are very adventurous.
So you sure you don't want to try dissecting an eyeball then?
Maybe one day in the future, but not right now.
Yeah, no, not right now. Don't get an
Not right
eyeball
now.
right now and start dissecting. What sound or noise do you love?
I think my favorite part of my day is when my siblings come home from school and they are the loudest little kids that I have ever met. So they make a lot of noise and a lot of sound when they come through the door. However, it's my favorite part of the day because I get to see my siblings.
What sound or noise do you hate?
Um, I feel like it's like the opposite of a sound of noise. I hate when things are silent. I feel so uncomfortable when things are super silent. So I like a lot of noise. So the opposite. I do not like silence at all.
So you wouldn't like to sit here, have an awkward silence and a staring contest, is what you're telling me then?
Not necessarily.
Okay. Number seven, if you could have any one superpower, what would you pick and why?
Flying for sure. I would love to travel absolutely to every single place. However, it gets expensive. It takes a lot of time. So if I could just have a superpower of flying and could get absolutely anywhere, it would definitely save a lot of time and I'd be able to experience absolutely everything.
What job would you most like to attempt?
I think, like I said earlier, fashion designer. I I'm in absolute awe with all of the designers from Sherry Hill to Ashley Lauren, all of those pageant gown designers. They are such huge role models to me, and they are able to design things that make people feel so special and so authentically them without even knowing them. And I think that is one of the most incredible things.
What job would you not like to attempt?
I would not like to be an eye doctor.
Look,
I decided that today. I I do not I could never imagine doing any type of eye surgery on someone.
final question, Ariana. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
I would love to be able to I would love for people to hear that he is proud of me for being able to teach other people the importance of volunteerism. I've been able to make my ultimate mission as Miss New Jersey Teen Volunteer and as a teenager to share that with other people. I've been able to bring that into my school. I've been able to bring that into my everyday life. So being able to just have him see that I was able to accomplish those goals and really put my whole heart into giving back to others.
Perfect. Just before we hang up, what's the best place if people want to follow you, follow your journey? Where can they reach you?
Definitely my Instagram, Miss New Jersey Teen Vol, or even my Instagram for my pageant page and my platform page, Hand Hand Heroes.
Perfect. I'll put all those links below. Well, Ariana, it's been a blast. Thanks so much for coming on.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
And best of luck. It's in 6 weeks. I'm sure you're aware of when it is. Best of luck in 6
Yes.
weeks. Thanks everyone for watching, and we will speak to you next time.